Those of us who are creative tend to have multiple creative outlets, and Anne is definitely no exception to that. Today, she shows us how she manages to keep all of her supplies and tools for multiple different crafts all in one room. A room that used to belong to her daughter. It was her bedroom. Let's take a look at that now.
So I'm Anne Gallant. I live in Peterborough, Ontario in Canada. And I am a weaver, spinner, weaver, watercolor painter, quilter, and any other fiber related thing that takes my fancy. So welcome to my studio. This is where I keep most of my crafting equipment, and the biggest piece of furniture in the studio is this 4-shaft fanny counterbalance loom. And this was gifted to me by a friend, and so far I have woven one project with these beautiful scarves. It was such a pleasure to work on this loom. I keep my umbrella swift mounted on the edge of this loom. I just find that it's so convenient to have it there. So from this swift, we come down here a little bit. This is my weaving bench. It's a bit higher than most weaving benches are. And I think when I started spinning, the thing that I found out right away is that one size does not fit all. I was determined in my mind that I was going to get a Kromsky Minstrel spinning wheel. And when I sat at that wheel, it just didn't fit my body size and shape. And so I ended up buying a different model. Love it, but it fit me so much better. And that really kind of tweaked my mind to be cognizant of how the equipment that we have fits your body or not. So this weaving bench works great for me. I use the open end on one end to kind of test drive fibers that I'm thinking about using. So whenever I walk past this, I think, oh, yeah, that's good, or no, that doesn't fit at all, and I'll take it out. The other feature of this bench is that this lid flips up, and I actually keep finished watercolor paintings in here. I really like painting small and making them into cards. And the other end of this loom bench I store frames and watercolor paper. With some of that hand spun yarn that I make, I enjoy knitting, and this is a project bag that I made for myself. So many people on YouTube have beautiful, beautiful project bags that they store all their things in. I thought, I have fabric that I printed many years ago in a workshop with Gallant, who's a textile artist in Toronto. And I thought that's the perfect use for these. Living down here, I have a small ironing board. I would like a flip down ironing board, but I don't have one as yet. Over here are projects that are finished or almost finished. I like to quilt as well, and I don't make a lot of quilts, and I don't make large quilts. Baby quilts and large lap couch quilts are about as big as I go. I have a Janoni sewing machine that is perfect for what I like to do with my quilting. I decided to make each of my 2 children an heirloom Christmas quilt using fabric scraps out of my mom's stash and my stash. And so some of the fabrics are ones that they have pretty much seen over their entire lifetime. So the one thing that I have in the studio is this pedestal lamp, and I really love it because it has a very long cord on it. So if I want to do something close up at the room, I can move it over here. If I want to do something around this side of the room, I just pick it up and push it across. It's got a tri-line in it, so I can get pretty decent illumination with that. Over here are some reference books. I don't use books very often. I turn to the internet, but there are a few things like the Fleece and Fiber source book that I really do need to have a hard copy of. I have material from courses that I've taken. I got to year 5 in the Ontario Hand Spinners spinning course, and then needed to take a break for health reasons. So I am hoping next summer to get back to that. These bins here have weaving yarns. They were all sorted by color, but that has gone by the wayside. This is vintage lace collection. This wooden box has needle felting supplies in it. These two bins have fiber to spin, and there's all different colors and types. I actually took 38 pounds of unspun fiber to Mariposa Woolen Mills to have it professionally washed and carted into roving for me so that I could spin. So a lot of my stash is over there. This is all watercolor supplies, so brushes, sponges, tortillons. If I open this magic cupboard, there's the rest of my watercolor supplies. So paper and salt and all kinds of paints and what have you. I shouldn't say that's all, because there's more down here. This just stays on the floor because that's the most convenient place that I can figure out. I have sorted paints in a box. It's actually part of a tackle box kit that somebody wasn't using and gave to me. And a palette. This painting box, over time, it passed through different generations, and my grandmother had it, and she gifted it to me eventually. At one time, Tom Thompson, the artist's brother George, lived in the Owen Sound area, and he borrowed this paint box. And I have the handwritten letter that George wrote to my ancestor about using the box and just what it was like and that sort of thing. So that's a very precious thing. This pack has hand spun yarn in it. These two bins have commercial yarn. This is a painting that my daughter-in-law to be did for me. These two boxes here have projects yet to be finished. This cupboard space here has my sewing material. Underneath there's a cupboard that has woven items in it. There's a cupboard that has quilting materials, a cupboard that has sewing materials, felting materials, rug hooking materials, and a mystery box at the end that I don't remember what's in it. I leave my bobbin winder just mounted on the side of this. This is a 24-inch table loom that I have that I bought with the intention of having it refinished once the warp is off it. And it came from a sheltered workshop in Toronto in the 1960s. When I got it, it still had the warp on from the 1960s, and it's still going. I initially pulled the warp forward to test if it was strong enough to weave on, and aside from being a little dirty at the beginning, it's been fine. So, pretty impressive. I'm currently weaving a tea towel on it. I've woven a lot of tea towels on that warp, and my mom lives with us in the wintertime. These are some of the tea towels that we've collaborated on. So I've woven the towel using the cotton warp and a linen weft, and made a little border so there was space for her to do some embroidery in the bottom. And this is my grandmother's china cabinet, and I did have china in it for a long time, but when I was able to start setting this room up as my workspace, I thought, I want the china cabinet for my own purposes. And so here I have a little rug hooked. It's actually a little Christmas ornament, but never got put away, so it just stays on the handle there. And then in here, mostly I have quilting fabrics, a bit of ribbon, and a bit of wool on the bottom. This is a container of fluff that I collect from our long-haired cat. Oh. And it has the micron that is softer than Angora or cashmere. It's just gorgeous. And when I get some of my wool fluff back from the wool mill, I will card it together with some of this. You definitely can spin cat hair into yarn. Same with dog hair. It's called Shingora, and it's considered a very luxury niche item. At one time I took a workshop with Beth Showalter. She did a workshop on spinning paper, which I said, spinning paper? So one Christmas after the workshop, I saved the tissue paper out of the presents. You cut the paper in a continuous strip and you just roll it, and it rolls into paper yarn. Once it's made into whatever your intention is, you can wash it in the washing machine. You can put it in the dryer. This is a baby quilt that I made for my son way back in the day. He's 30 years old now. We don't have any grandchildren at the moment. My mom and I decided that we wanted to make some baby things because they're easier to finish, a smaller project, and that I've been commissioned to find an antique trunk or some nice box of some sort to put things in as we finish them, and it'll be a baby box that whatever future generations have a baby, they can go to the box and pick out something and know that great grandma or grandma made it. So thanks for touring my studio with me. Hope it inspires you, and just remember to be creative every day.
If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit that like button and maybe check out this video or this video. I'll meet you there.